123, 3 through 4 says, "Have mercy upon us, O Lord, have mercy upon us. For we have had more than enough of contempt. Our soul has had more than its fill of the scorn of those who are at ease, of the contempt of the proud." And this must describe what the people of Israel were feeling like in our text from the Old Testament this week, Judges 4, 1 through 7. For the Israelites in Canaan were suffering under the weight of oppression. They had been under the hand of King Jabin of Canaan and his military commander Sisera, who had cruelly oppressed them for 20 years. And moreover, Sisera and Jabin possessed a superior technological military sophistication. They had 900 chariots of iron, it says. But there was in Israel at that time a prophet, a woman named Deborah, who used to sit under a palm tree between Bethel and Ramah. And Israel used to go to her for judgment, for discernment. And she called Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Naphtali, to draw up to Mount Tabor with men from the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali. And she said that the Lord would draw out the troops and the chariots of Sisera to meet Israel at Mount Tabor. So by the word of the Lord, Barak was to draw up to Mount Tabor to meet the fearsome enemies of Israel, Sisera and his men, whom the Lord was going to also draw out to Mount Tabor. And this must have been a terrifying word to Barak, because this fearsome force was about to meet him there. But the closer that he was coming to danger, the closer his deliverance was coming. Because the word of the Lord was that he would give the armies of Sisera into the Israelites' hands. And this goes beyond our text for today, but in fact, the text says that the Lord threw Sisera and his armies into a panic, and they fled before Israel. And it was God who put them into a panic and delivered Israel on that day from the hand of King Jabin and Sisera. Now, in our Matthew text from chapter 25, verses 14 through 30, we see a parable that Jesus told about a man who went away for some time and entrusted his property to 3 servants. And he gave the servants talents according to their ability. He gave to one 5, or according to their power. He gave to one 5, he gave to another 2, and he gave to another 1. And the one that he gave 5 to exercised the gifts or the grace that he had been given and increased it, making another 5. So the one who had been given 2 exercise the gifts or the grace that had been given him, and he made an additional 2. But the one that had been given 1 talent or 1 gift, he went and buried that talent in the ground, and it did not there increase. So when the man came back to settle accounts with the servants, he called them to him, and the one that had now 10 talents to present, the Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord." So with the one who now had 4 talents to present, he said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord." But the third one, the one who did not exercise the gifts or the grace that was given to him, but buried it so that it could not increase to the benefit of others, that servant ended up in the outer darkness, where there is weeping and there is gnashing of teeth. He did not enter into the joy of his Lord because he did not act according to the gifts that were given him to exercise and to increase. He took his light and he put it under a bushel. He did not put it on a lampstand for all the world to see. You could say in a way that he did not live a missional life, a life lived so that others might see his good works and give glory to their Father who is in heaven. And it was then that he ended up in the darkness, and that sudden destruction came upon him at the time of the Lord's return. And by the way, the detail about the weeping and the gnashing of the teeth comes from Psalm 37, where it says that the wicked gnash their teeth at the righteous. And so here the man ends up in a place where the wicked rule and they gnash their teeth at one another. It's a place without mercy, a place without grace. Now, in our 1 Thessalonians reading from chapter 5, verses 1 through 11, Paul also talks about belonging to the darkness or belonging to the light. And he also talks about sudden destruction coming over people who proclaim peace and security when there is no peace and no security. These are those who are proud, like in the psalm, and who are at ease, who heap scorn and contempt upon others, and they proclaim peace and security. But Paul says to the Thessalonians, we are not of the darkness. We are not like those who get drunk, but rather we are people of sobriety. And moreover, we are people who put on the breastplate of faith and love and the helmet of the hope of salvation. We are people who receive the grace and the mercy of God and allow it to work through us as faith, working through love and working in hope. And it is by allowing the gifts that God has given us, the grace that God has given us, entrusted to us, is by allowing that to work through us as faith in hope that we obtain salvation and deliverance from evil, that we come into the inheritance that God intends for us. And so it may be that, like Barak of Abinoam, who acted in faith upon the grace that he received through the word of Deborah the prophet, that we also may put on the armor of faith, love, and hope, and see the deliverance and the salvation of our God. Amen.